What's up, Sons of Montezuma? After beating Hurricane Hilary, game week is finally here, and the Aztecs are ready for some football. First up for San Diego State, a Week 0 matchup versus the Ohio Bobcats.
Toss to him. Can he get the edge? Gonna try it. He's got it. Record time. Donnell Humphrey smashes the record.
On the return, it's Rashad Penny. And Penny finds a seam. Penny to the outside. Penny will go the distance.
First and goal. Fake to Penny. Open man. Wells. He leans. He gets the ball. And they say touchdown San Diego State.
Dingwell back to pass. He lofts it up there to the corner. Touchdown Adam Roberts. Scared money don't make no money. Rocky Long and the Aztecs will walk away with a big win in OT.
Let's do it.
All right, Aztec Nation, welcome back to a new episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. It's a new season on the doorsteps of the 2023 season. It's your host, Mateo. You can find me at Mateo San Diego. Guys, we thank you for joining us. This may be your first chance, your first opportunity listening to the Sons of Montezuma podcast. It's a new year, right? You always get different listeners. So before you do anything, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And of course, sonsofmontezuma.com for all of our NIL shop goodies. We have a big NIL team this year. But before we get any further, I want to welcome my two co-hosts. They've been riding with me for 5 seasons. This is our 5th season. OGs to the left of me. He is protecting our borders from sea to shining sea. You know him as K5 James. James, what is up?
What's up?
And of course, the dirtiest of the Dans. He gets very dirty, but he stays so clean, just like he did this weekend. I don't know how you stay so clean. My man, it is the one and only D Morton 78 Dirtball Dan.
Yo.
I got to get you shirts. One yo, one what's up. I'm ready for the tailgates. I'm ready for all the drama. I'm ready for the highs and the lows. And we've already had a lot of them in this offseason, guys. But we are coming up on our 5th season covering Aztecs football as a podcast. It all started with K5 James back in the day. We've told the story many times already, and we want to thank all the different people who have taken interest. We got together this past weekend for kind of like a kickoff event of the new season because we're very excited about Aztecs football, and yeah, we're making our own Sons of Montezuma IPA. James is gonna think of a cool name for it.
Oh, you already know the name, man, but you don't want to do it. You don't want to pull the trigger. We should put it to a vote or something on the website, dude.
Okay, all right. Well, this was an event just for the day ones, and hopefully we'll have that IPA. It's definitely going to be IPA. We'll have it at a tailgate coming soon. But guys, another football season. It's been, we didn't even really give our reaction to what just happened in the off season, to be honest with everybody, right? I mean, it was such a kick in the nuts. I think we've all agreed upon that. San Diego State coming into this year as the likelihood they were going to be announcing that they were joining the Pac 12, whatever it was going to be at that time, or the Big 12, So, we don't want to start this new fresh football season on a downer. You definitely want to do that because, we're going to get into all of it, the roster, the matchups, all that good stuff. But we do kind of have to talk a little bit on how you guys are feeling after such a crazy offseason. I mean, Dan, we talked with, TJ Altimore, we talked with a lot of different people online, behind the scenes. We got our sources, and everything looked like it was going to be a lock for the Aztecs to join the Pac-12. And now it didn't happen. The Pac-12 is no more. We don't even know what's going to happen with the Pac-4, Stanford, Cal, Washington State, Oregon State. But from your point of view coming into this season, I mean, how do you make sense of everything we just been through?
Man, it was pretty devastating. I felt like first, man, how much time did I waste worrying about it for, the last year? Just felt so crappy about even how much energy I put into it myself. And I think my frustration was at a micro, level when I think about San Diego State and them not being in a conference. But now it's just the macro level of all college football, what it's going to be in the future, what it's going to be, for the next few years, and just the split of the haves and have-nots, and how it's just college football to me, as it sits now with NIL transfer and conference realignment, is really it's dropped down a few steps in my book. I'm not as happy with the actual product, not as happy with the conferences. Just it feels like it's going to alienate a lot of the realignment and the haves and have-nots. It's going to alienate a lot of cities, a lot of fan bases. And I wish at this point that San Diego State could just get into, just know what we're going to be. If they're going to split off, fine. Just get us in a conference. So we're going to play, so we could develop some rivalries, play against like-minded institutions that are spending the same money, stuff like that, and just move on. I'm sick of trying to get this school or worry about the school being in a P5 conference. I'm over it. Just let us be what we are. Play against, the UNLVs, Fresno States, and of the world. It's fine. Let's just accept it, move on, and try to enjoy the season and the football team for what it is.
All right, James, tell me this, though, because I hear what Dan's saying, and to a certain degree, I do agree. But you can't really just sit back and be comfortable with where you're at, or just kind of submit yourself down to, okay, well, we're just going to be the best of the G5 that we could be. Because if you're not advancing, if you're not growing, if you're not expanding, well, then you're plateaued, and you're really not going to get any better. At least that's how I see things. Do you see things in a different perspective?
Yeah, I don't think Dan's necessarily saying that, he's resigned himself, that we're stuck here forever. He's just saying he's tired of worrying about it. And I agree. There's nothing we can do at this point. It's beyond our control. But just continue to be the best San Diego State can be. The G5 is still going to have access to a playoff spot no matter what's going on. Well, we'll see in a couple of weeks when they vote on it.
Yeah.
But as of right now, the G5 has a spot at the table for the playoffs. So, I mean, that's all you can ask for, is to have a chance. Like, we all love basketball, and basketball that has allowed a team like San Diego State to go from nothing to being a budding powerhouse, is you still have that same access to possibly win a championship on the field, on the court. So as long as we have that playoff spot for the G5, I'm all in for just all we can do, all the school can do, is just be the best they can be, and everything else will take care of itself, dude. It is what it is. We'll see what happens, and frankly, like Dan said, I'm kind of over it. I'm excited for this beginning of the football season, so we can talk about actual football instead of all the other nonsense.
I think part of it for me is there's always been this impossibility that San Diego State could win a national championship in football, right? But come on, it's not going to happen. And even with the playoff spot, it's not. So the sooner you accept what we are, and the more enjoyment you're going to get from it. I mean, dude, it's just the haves and the have-nots, money spent, the facilities, the transfers, the recruiting. It's just not going to happen.
Here's where I push back on that just a little bit, because the Mountain West.
Don't compare it to the basketball, as long as you don't compare it to the basketball.
No, absolutely not. I get what you're saying. I know where you're going with that too. When it comes to the Mountain West Conference, right, historically coming out of the WAC, but the Mountain West, let's look at the Mountain West. This is going to be the 25th year, something like that. There are teams that came out of the Mountain West who now find themselves in Power 5 leagues, and realistically, you could see them actually making a national championship opportunity, right? I mean, I'm talking about Utah. I'm talking about TCU. Like, these are two awesome programs that I think all Aztec Nation respects very much, looks at them like that's the blueprint. And I think that was the blueprint for the longest time, right? Follow Utah's shadow, follow TCU's, what they do, as far as the football program goes. So that there's that, vision of what we've been trying to do. and that's why this move hurts so much, is because San Diego State's done everything right. Like you said the other day to me, Dan, like they've done everything right. Even in this process, you look back in hindsight, not joining the Pac-12 or not just letting yourself leave the Mountain West in hopes that the Pac-12 would, like, that was the smartest decision they could have done, right? But where I'll throw this to you, James, is, even with those two roadmaps, and even though San Diego State on the basketball side going to national championship and doing everything right on the football side, new stadium, I mean, all the hype, everything. There's something about California in general, the West Coast in general, when we look at the Pac-12 whittling down to the Pac-4, Cal and Berkeley, they're two of the most prestigious universities, and they find themselves on the outdoor, looking in, trying to scramble. So, I mean, those four schools with Washington and Oregon State, I mean, do we even, if they're in that position, I mean, how much better can we be in that position in the near future?
Yeah, exactly. Cal is like one of the most prestigious universities in the world, and they're stuck possibly without a conference. Who knows what's going to happen with the Pac-4? But yeah, that just goes to show you, like, look at the situation they're in. Who are we to say we deserve something else? And a thing we talk about how they've done everything right. San Diego State hasn't necessarily done everything right in football. If we want to be honest, we haven't made that G5 BCS game, and then after the BCS, the G5 Access game. We've never had that big season like that. I think that's the one piece that's missing.
And let's talk about fan support too.
Yeah, we can get into that as well. But we thought we were going to have this big wave of not all the Chargers fans, but we thought we'd get some conversion of Chargers fans that became Aztec fans because it's the only football game in town. But we really haven't seen that. It's pretty much been the same fan base since the Qualcomm days. So the fan support isn't there. We have a small diehard group that's there no matter what, through thick and thin, through some bad seasons and now recently some good seasons. So until our season tickets hit like 20,000 season ticket holders, then we can start talking about how we have that Utah path, that TCU path. That's what schools like Utah and TCU had when they were in the Mountain West. They had pretty solid fan bases no matter who they were playing. So until we develop that, we don't really have a right to say, oh, we're being held back or being left behind. So if we want to be real about it, that's pretty much what it boils down to.
And that's an interesting mix, right? Because you talk about doing all the right things as far as the academics go, as far as, the administration side goes, the development side and all the new facilities, all that stuff. And then on the field, right? It all comes down to on the field. You got to perform, you got to win. And you can't just win. You got to win, looking good. It's got to be exciting. It's got to grab new fans and galvanize the city, the county, all that good stuff. And I think they've made strides, but I agree with what you're saying. We haven't had that one undefeated season that's like put us way over the top,
So it's pretty safe to say this is kind of a critical year. It's kind of like a crossroads year. They need to play well in the stadium. They need to build some momentum. They got a great home schedule, so there's no reason for people to say, oh, you don't play anybody. They can't use the other team as an excuse not to come see the Aztecs play. So it's pretty much it's all on the football team to go out and perform. And that it's really could change the way the future of this program goes this year.
You hit it right on the head before I was even going to say it, dude. It really sets the stage for this season, right? I mean, we're looking at a lot of different players, a lot of roster changes, right? Last year, the way things went, and making that move to bring in Ryan Lindley. Well, now he's the OC. We've been talking about it, talking to a lot of these players, and okay, what's going to be new? What's going to be different? And that's the biggest thing. So transitioning into this year, because that's what we all want to talk about, right? It's a new year. It's a fresh opportunity. The slates are clean. The new faces, new names, new opportunities. It's a big opportunity for the program, for the coaching staff, for the players. Everybody wants that chance to shine, to perform their best. And yeah, I hear what you guys are saying, though. It's on the fan base. We got to show up and support and show that we are at our best as well. So we're ready to get into all the craziness this football season. Of course, we might need a lot of these, depending on how things go. If we celebrate or if we kind of like, need to get over a game. But either way, make sure you're drinking your state ales from Ale Smith. Hope to do some more watch parties up there, guys. And James can make it this time. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to be back in town.
The new Chula Vista resident. Okay, so when we look at this football team, guys, the depth chart, the two deep actually just came out. I know it turned a lot of eyebrows up. Some of the things we were expecting from all the reports we've been hearing about, but it's really cool to see. Like we talked about these new opportunities, different faces, some of the new blood in there that Dan was talking about. So let's talk to you, James. What kind of raised your eyebrow when you're looking at this too deep? Now it's only one game against Ohio, but I think it does say a lot after a fall camp coming into this first game.
Yeah, the thing that jumped out at me right from the get-go was a true freshman starting at the Aztec position.
Right.
That was pretty interesting. I know there was good reports about Ratcliffe coming out of camp, but I was surprised to see him be named the guy at that, like, pretty much one of the most important positions on the defense. So that speaks highly of him, and it's pretty interesting. It'll be fun to watch. He's a big, lanky guy. If you coach defense, you love those rangy guys like that. So it'll be interesting to see him get out there and do his thing.
Out of Chula Vista as well, Cathedral Catholic, right? I mean, it's one thing to hear reports that he's doing well, he's holding his own, but to actually name him the starter like that's a bold move. That's a bold move. Dan, what about yourself? Do you see anything offense or defense that kind of makes you raise your eyebrow?
I mean, there's a couple of the ones of the individual decisions, like when you don't see Noah Evinger in the too deep at all. It's kind of shocking or strange. But it's kind of weird when I look at the depth chart. Is you go to going into this, I was pretty concerned with the defensive line, and looking at it when I see there hasn't been a game started from the too deep from all 6 players. Now I know Garrett Fountain played a lot, so take that for what it's worth. It just shows, man, the defensive line, that's going to be a huge question mark. And it's coming from a position of strength that we had these last few years. There's some young players and some unproven players, and very little veterans. So it's going to be interesting. I'm a bit more concerned when I just happen to see it on paper than when I kind of visualized it in my head.
Tupu Alualu at that defensive tackle spot that was held down by Jonah Tavai for the last 3 years. So and
the thing about him is he didn't get the best reviews at the spring camp. So and then I saw kind of our offense kind of go up and down on the defense. So there is some concern playing against Ohio and their offense.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention. Is we talked about it after we watched the fall game, and our offense was able to run the ball, kind of pushed around our defensive line, and we were hoping that's the improved offensive line, but it also it raises questions that possibly the defensive line might be taking a big step back. So there's a lot of, like you said, a lot of unproven guys. Fountain got a ton of playing time. Drager had some playing time last year, and Dalton had some PT last year as well. So that they're guys with a ton of talent. It's just, now it's time for the rubber to hit the road.
We were there at that fall game, and you're watching it. It's a lot of situational stuff, and everybody's coming out glowing on fire because the offense put up all these numbers, the big passing plays and all that good stuff. And I agree with you. It's like, okay, you're playing against yourself. But to be able to see it, I mean, in previous fall camp games, we hadn't really seen that ability from the offense to do these things, right? It was always like, oh, the defense is ahead of the offense. But to actually just see them do it, that to me, that's promising. I mean, you could say the defense is maybe downgraded a little bit, but even in years past, you would never even see the offense making these type of plays or having the precision, having the timing, all that good stuff. So that was good for me to see. When you look at the offensive line, though, James, you're offensive line guy. You're offensive line guy. So when you see Ross, all right, when you see Ross Ulugalu, when you see Ross Masuli down there at the center spot, that's pretty interesting to me at the center spot.
I like it, man. He's got the build for it. He's kind of a bigger center, but he's got that. He's one of those guys that plays that mean streak. So you like that from your center because they're supposed to be the leader of the offensive line. So I'm cool with that. I would have preferred somebody else at center because I like him at guard. But they've got, I guess they feel like Abdullah or Mirabella can get the job done at guard, so they'd rather have the guy they feel is the guy at center. So I'm pretty pleased with the offensive line on paper right now. Jones looked pretty good at the fall game, so that was the only kind of like question mark because BCD, you know what you're getting out of him. He's a solid player, and it's just whether he can remember the snap count or not. He had an issue at the fall game with the snap count. But I think there's potential for them to be really good this year and like really, really good next year. So we'll see what happens, man.
Okay, so a little bit more on the offense, guys. Jalen Maiden, that's our guy. Of course, put up big numbers last year in the limited time that he did come in. So protecting him, he's smooth back there in the pocket. He likes to, take his time, go through his progressions. And he looked great. He looked great there at the game. Mr. Armstead in the 2 deep. Am I missing that in the running game in the running back room? I know they're very talented, but I'm not seeing them in there. I'm sure we're gonna hear some reports. Do you know anything, Dan?
I saw everybody complaining about that, or not everybody.
No, I mean it is what it is, right? There's no need to complain. It's like
I saw like, oh, where's Armstead? What's going on? Dude, they play like 3 or 4 running backs anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, and even on this, it says Kristen or Cam Davis, so they're basically saying it's 1A, 1B. So then Armstead's probably right behind them, It's like he'll get his reps. They all do. I hate that they do that so much. I hate that they share the ball so much, but the running back depth chart is like the least of my worries.
I think Armstead's going to be their second half guy anyway. I think he's the one Hoke wants to, if we have a lead, to finish games off. I think that's going to be his role in this season.
Be that battering ram towards the end of the game, kind of limit his touches early on, but just bring him in and shut the door on the game.
Yeah,
I thought at the wide receiver spot, I thought Josh Nicholson was hurt, like he was out for a while, but I guess not.
The reports he did get banged up, but I mean I don't think it was anything.
I don't think he played at the ball game or whatever.
I don't think so.
But yeah, that's the wide receivers. It's kind of like when you're looking at the defensive line. If Philip Wesley could beat out Braylon Penny, who's kind of like a special athlete, and he could beat him out as a sophomore, that probably says more about Wesley than it does Penny, So maybe there's something special there. Obviously, the young kid Valen Brooks they're really high on. So we'll see. Look, I mean, obviously, wide receiver is going to be a concern. No, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to know that,
Yeah, I think Nicholson, he showed some flashes last year in his limited playing time. That Utah game, he had some nice catches. It's kind of like we talked about the defensive line. It's a group with some talent, but not a lot of experience. So just kind of real quick back to the fall game. You kind of mentioned how the offense was able to move the ball a little bit. To me, that wasn't even that big of a deal. It's cool to see, but just the organization of the offense, it seemed like everybody knew what they were doing. It was you could tell the difference. It was very much well organized, and everybody kind of, like you said, the timing was down. Everybody kind of knew what they were doing, where they're supposed to be. There wasn't a whole lot of confusion when they went to different, because they varied the formations quite a bit. And that was like the biggest thing. They looked like they knew what they were doing, and that's like half the battle right there. So that was good to see, and that's what gives me some excitement about this year.
Yeah, and that's first things first, right? You got to be disciplined. You got to like be on the same page and have that team discipline to. What did we see last year, right? I mean, all the false starts, it was a little chaotic to say the least. So, hey, you got some, Dan? You look like you're chomping at the bit.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go back to the negative, I guess, but like.
Where would we be? Where would we be? Come on, this would not be the Sons of Montezuma podcast.
I mean, I think on the concern on the defense is like it's not like the offense had to make some spectacular plays either, or like Maiden was running for his life and throwing dimes down the field. There wasn't much pressure at all. A lot of the wide receivers were pretty open. The holes that the running backs were running through were pretty huge. So man, hopefully it's more that our offense is great than that our defense is bad. but it looked pretty like it was Swiss cheese.
This may be a year where they have to blitz a lot. If the defensive line isn't going to get pressure, they're going to have to blitz a lot. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on the DBs to hold their coverage longer, have tighter coverage. So if there's a year to do it, this defensive backfield is pretty loaded, other than the Aztec position we talked about. But the corners and Warriors, man, they're pretty deep and talented. So, I mean, if we got to blitz a lot, I guess we're going to have to blitz a lot to get pressure. We'll see.
You guys seem very, very uninterested to be here in this podcast right now. Like, dude, like, we'll see.
I thought Dan wanted to say something, man. That's why I didn't.
No, I didn't really want to say anything. I mean, it's at this point, let's just see what we have. I want to go to the game. I want to see how we play, and we could dissect it till we're blue in the face. But, you know, the cool thing about college is there's such turnover each year that you just don't know what you're going to get. So you got to see it first couple games. You got to, and we don't get the best coverage. We don't read the best reports here in San Diego. So we don't really know. You know, we're kind of talking, and you have some people that have some access and they shed some light, but for the most part, I just want to see it. You know, I want to see who's out there making plays.
Hey Aztec Nation, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to our channel. And then stop on over to sonsofmontezuma.com, where you can find more SDSU sports news, articles, podcasts, and the most unique Aztecs-inspired merchandise in our original NIL shop. This year's Sons of Montezuma NIL team features quarterback Jalen Maiden, receiver Makai Shaw, running back Keenan Kristen, defensive lineman Garrett Fountain, and linebacker Cooper McDonald. With every purchase, you directly support our student athletes. So make sure to stop over at sonsofmontezuma.com today. Go Aztecs!
I'm so pumped for the game Saturday, man. It can't get here fast enough. I'm stoked for the tailgate, the game, everything, the whole deal.
Okay, so tell everybody, James, where will we be tailgating the Sons of Montezuma tailgate on Saturday, hosting Ohio University?
Oh man, our new spot that we used towards the end of last year, the yellow lot. What is that? The north
far back corner, right? The far.
Yeah, I would call that the northeast side of the yellow lot. Right there near all that restroom bank, right before the entrance to the main entrance to the stadium.
It seems like they still have that bug up their ass about like shoving everyone into the spot right next to it based off that fall camp game, dude. They should know the season, how many season tickets we have. They should know. They should allow some space with the parking situation.
Last year was the first year. It was tough. It was everything was brand new. It was jam packed. It was tough to get in. It was tough to get out. Well, I mean, I got there super early, so it wasn't tough. But you know, this year I figured things to be a little different, right? It's not going to be over 100 degrees like we just passed through Hurricane Hilary, like that. All the tumultuous weather should be out of San Diego's system by the time this Saturday rolls around, and it should be very comfortable. Very comfortable, hopefully. So yeah, I would think 4 hours before kickoff, that should be perfect. We're gonna be rolling deep, I know that, so it should be a great time. Just so everybody knows, we don't necessarily have our NIL merch for sale at the tailgates. It's not something that we do out of respect and violating any kind of San Diego State merchandise guidelines and whatnot. You know, we don't want to be those ones that are, trying to hustle at the tailgate so much. It's like, no, we want to have a good time, enjoy it. We'll have our banners showing up. You can go to the website, the online shop at sonsofmontezuma.com and support the student athletes. We got a bunch of them this year, so definitely go and check out what we got.
Is the van going to be ready?
I doubt it, dude. This rain crushed the last few days. Like, it's out there in the rain, so it is what it is.
Okay, because you got to store my speakers in your van, dude. So
I'm gonna buy those locks. Those ones that you put on the door on the outside. That's got. I'm gonna buy those all the way around.
Okay.
Because that old ass van, you can break into that thing too easy. I came home one day and the two side doors were open, bro. Like somebody was in there.
What was that movie? What was that the homeless guy's name? That Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
kept
with Wahlberg. Was that with Wahlberg?
Yeah.
I think
They kept
They
breaking
kept-
into his car and
Hey, are you Dirty Mike and the boys?
How you know who we are?
You left a note in that car.
Police shithead. He's a copper. We gotta go. Come on! Hey, goose it, boys! You're a cop.
Oh, okay. I want to try something different with this episode, guys. Starting moving forward in this new season, this 2023 Aztecs football season, because everybody knows that you guys are like yin and yang when it comes to your opinions, your takes. It's like what I want to call busting balls with Dirtball Dan, because he loves to bust all our balls, give us a hard time all the time. It's like you can't relax with this guy when he's around because you know he's going to pick on you. You know he's going to embarrass you. So when it comes to this game against Ohio, Dirtball Dan, what's your take against Ohio, the Bobcats? They tore us up a couple years ago in the bowl game. So, I mean, what's your busting balls take when it comes to playing the Ohio Bobcats?
Dude, their offense scares me. They had a freshman rookie of the year or freshman of the year running back last year that had 1,000 yards. They had the conference player of the year quarterback. They have two good receivers that are back that are top 3 in their conference rankings. Their offense is going to be pretty explosive. So that's why I kept bringing up our defense earlier. We're going to have to be able to put some pressure. The guy has like 69% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns, 4 picks, something like that. He is 4'7", 40 guy, and who could run well. So we have our hands full. People might just see Ohio and they don't think much of them, but if you look at their offense, they're pretty damn good.
The Ohio Bobcats quarterback, I believe his name is Curtis Rourke.
That even sounds like a quarterback name.
he's a big 6'5", like 230-pound Canadian, just back there slinging it. Like I told Coach C, like his measurable, he's like 6'5", holy, like what the heck? He's a big dude, the MAC Offensive Player of the Year, like you said last year, and that was from what I'm reading from Pete Thamel, did a really good breakdown of his story. He's that's despite an ACL injury that ended his season after only 11 games, and he still won the conference Offensive Player of the Year. Like this dude is a load. That's all I kept hearing about when as we started getting closer to the years. Like that quarterback's legit. He's the real deal.
So this is when I hope our offense does play a little more conservative and grinds it out and eats up the clock and kind of like the old boring style. If there's ever like a game I kind of want to see it might be this one. So I think we could run on them. I think we could control the clock. But I don't really want to get in a shootout with them.
Nathan Rourke, his older brother, is on the Jaguars, and he's the one who just. I mean, that game was so embarrassing against Ohio a couple years back in the what was that? Was that the Frisco Bowl? That was the Frisco.
Dude, I was in Yuma with James.
Yeah, we watched that game over there.
How could you lose to Hacksaw's alma mater? That's why we cannot lose to Hacksaw's alma mater, bro. He's a Bobcat. Okay, James. So Dirtball gave us his busting balls take when it comes to the Aztecs against this Ohio offense. But you, sir, you are very, very powerful man. So tell us, K5 James, give us your power of positivity take on what Dan just said. What's your rebuttal?
The power of positivity. So I think the offense is going to be very efficient. They're going to move the ball up and down the field, like Dan said, control the clock. Oh yeah, you're getting.
Don't worry about me.
Fuzzy there, bro. You're getting fuzzy. No, I think they're going to control the clock and they're going to be able to put up some points. And I think the defense, they're going to give up a lot of yards, but I think they're going to force them to make some mistakes. And we're going to pull out a close win. This was a tough game. I've been saying this is a tough game even before seeing our team in practice. But, Ohio's a team you can't overlook. I just think we're going to be able to pull it out by making timely stops and being efficient on offense.
You feel that good about our offense that they could be efficient against this Bobcats defense?
Yeah, I want some
their defense was ranked like 100th last year.
Yeah. I want to see like some 12-play, 7-minute drives that end in either a field goal or a touchdown. And I think we're going to pull out a fairly high scoring by Aztec standards win I think it's going to be like in the low 30s.
Very different style of game than we're probably used to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce his name. Sie Bangura, the running back, over 1,000-yard rusher who you're talking about, Dan.
I think they run a lot of that
Yeah, the read option.
read option.
Yeah. Or zone read.
And definitely stay tuned because we're gonna dive into a little bit more in depth Ohio Bobcats football with Coach C this week. So you guys definitely stay tuned to the next episodes coming down. We're gonna look at what they do like schematically and just kind of say, well, this is what we should look forward to. This is what we should expect. But just from the eyeball test and what we're seeing here and the stats and all that stuff. I mean, I'm interested if he's coming off an ACL injury and they do run that type of an offense where he needs to be full go. I mean, that's a big body to bring down. But I'm interested to see how effective he's going to be. I mean, the ACL injury ain't no joke. I know it's not the same as it was back in the days, but that may be if he's still got a little tentative thought behind that and the contact and all that good stuff. We got to take advantage of that.
It wasn't a guarantee like a couple weeks ago that he was going to start for this game.
Yeah. I'm getting questions on Twitter. Justin Ryan at JustDoc. Who are the starters? Ohio quarterback. And I just sent him the link to that Pete Thamel article because Rourke is gonna go. Yeah. All right, guys. So we're gonna get into more in-depth talk of Ohio with Coach C later on this week, like I mentioned before. So just looking at our own team, we want to pick our it's time for our segment that we call our Warriors of the Week.
I'm an Aztec warrior.
And this segment is brought to you by our first sponsors here at the Sons of Montezuma podcast. We want to thank our new product partners at Mars Energy Cream for sponsoring this game week, this week 0 game week, and this episode with us. So Mars Energy is a new way to get a boost. Think energy drink, guys, but it's a lotion that you rub on. It's caffeinated, infused, and has taurine like drinks do, right? Like energy drinks do, but it's a cream, it's a lotion. That's Mars with the Z, MARZ, energycream.com. Definitely check them out. They sent me some samples. So I got some here at the house. I'm about to take them to the tailgate and see who wants to get hyped up, who wants me to rub some Mars energy cream all over their body.
Only if you do it for me, Matt.
Hey, man, I'm actually curious about. I've seen them have NIL deals with some of the players on Instagram and different things. So I'm interested to try this thing out.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I don't always want to drink coffee or energy drinks, right? Because I get the shakes and like all cracked out and stuff. So hey, if I could get it in another form, just put a little something on my neck or whatever, getting the game hyped up, I'm down for it.
Dude, do you have any idea where you're supposed to put it on?
We're gonna open it up at the tailgate, actually. So everybody come to the tailgate.
Like on your body, you're supposed to put it on your neck and your jawline.
Oh, okay, all right,
interesting. Okay.
Neck and jawline, and you know what? It's got a nice fragrance too. I did get a chance to smell some of it, and it's not like what you would think, like a cream or something like that. Like it actually smells pretty good. So it feels good. You smell good, and you get some good energy. I'm gonna have you guys read one of the ads next time, dude. That'd be so good. That'd be so good. You guys ever listen to Bad Friends podcast with Bobby Lee?
No.
Oh, that little Bobby Lee guy from Mad TV back in the days.
We're used to the Stern style, dude.
Well, so we're definitely gonna have those Mars Energy Cream down there at the tailgate. You guys definitely stop by if you want to test one out. We want to get your reactions there at the tailgate. That should be fun. Okay, so for this Mars Energy Cream segment, our Warriors of the Week, where we basically we're trying to outkick our coverage and see if we can pick the player offensively and defensively who we predict is going to be the player of the week, the Warrior of the Week. All right, Dan, offensive side of the ball, who do you got?
It's not that easy on this side of the ball either, dude. I mean, I'm not going to go Jalen Maiden, even though I'd love to. I'll allow one of you guys to do it.
So gracious.
I'm going to go Philip Wesley. I kind of I'm jazzed that he earned a starting spot as a sophomore, and read a lot of good things about him in the paper. So see what he could do.
Dan is jazz. I imagine you doing jazz hands.
Spirit finger, dude.
James, K5 James, who do you got offensively? Warrior of the week. Who you picking?
All right, man. You know who the easy one is. So I'm going to leave him for you, Mateo. I'm going to go with Mark Redmond. I think he's going to have his breakout game where he catches a couple touchdown passes. He's the player of the week.
You mean our representative at the Mountain West Convention? Way to go out on a limb there.
Hey, that's a name we did not even bring up all episode long, and he's a load, man. The dude is he's a redwood tree, man. That dude is the monster, and he should have a monster season. Okay, thank you for leaving me the obvious choice, Mr. Jalen Maiden. Thank you very much. I believe he is gonna have an efficient game. I think we're all going to be very pleased to see how the offense is run, and his demeanor out there is as a true captain, being confident, cool under pressure, and man, we'll see how it goes. But that's my pick, Jalen Maiden. Let's go Moose.
Buy a Moose t-shirt on sonsofmontezuma.com, man. Those are awesome shirts. He's an awesome guy. Start buying those things.
Yes, sir. Okay, on the defensive side of the ball, we'll give K5 James that first crack on the defense. Who you got for the Warrior of the Week?
Man, I'm gonna go. Pretty much, you kind of have to. I'm gonna take the obvious. To me, it's obvious. I'm gonna go with Cooper McDonald. Excuse me. Yeah, I think he's gonna have he's gonna kind of take over his brother's position and go wild over there. Put some pressure, get some tackles for loss. I think it's gonna be a big game from him.
So he is taking over that edge rusher, that edge. What we talked with Cody Gallia this past week. If you guys haven't heard that episode, definitely go check that out. That was a episode long in the making, and he kind of like changed that position from what he says, right, from his side of the story.
Cody's a wild
man. Okay, all right. Dan, who do you got? Defense.
Dude, I'm going with I send you links about this guy. I tell you how great he is. I think he's not spoken about enough on the team or on the defense. So I'm going Des Malone. I think he's a future pro, and I think he's going to make some plays.
What about his game? You say he's a future pro. I believe you. Like he's definitely got the build. Like
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of it. It's his size and his athleticism. Like it's easy just to say, oh, he has a build, but he actually really does at 6'2", 200 pounds. He could play really physical. He could be a game changer. So, and I've read a lot of stuff from like NFL draft guys, and they're pretty high on him. So hopefully he can make some plays and prove me right.
Okay, all right. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one, guys, because this defense it's very different. It feels different. It looks different. It reads different. A lot of those longtime staple guys are not here anymore. So
I think I know who you're going to take. Actually,
yeah, I think so too.
I don't think you guys do.
Come on, pull the trigger, bro.
I'm gonna say Vi Cajo. There at that line.
Now you're just trying to be different.
It's either him or Cyrus. It's either him or Cyrus at that middle linebacker spot.
You know what? I was looking at Cyrus too, but then, I read these articles so much about how well Brady Anderson has played and how great he looks, and I'm thinking they're gonna split a lot of time.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason I didn't.
Oh man, okay, it's tough, man, because I want to say Vi, I want to say Cyrus, but I'll roll with Vi. I think it's going to be an interesting. It's one of those games. We don't this defense. We don't know really who's going to separate themselves as that name, as that dog that's going to like kind of take over and be that guy.
I thought for sure one of you guys would take Garrett Fountain.
Yeah, I thought for sure that's where Mateo was going.
I mean, that's like the obvious choice, right? Yeah. To me, that's the obvious choice. I mean, he's such a gamer. He's disciplined. I love the episode we did with him and all that.
And they get so much opportunity up front to make the plays. Like a cornerback might do his job really well. Thus, they don't throw his way. Thus, he doesn't make plays.
And that's what I'm thinking though, is that everybody knows Garrett Fountain on this defense, right? But it's all the other guys that I think opposing teams they know of, obviously, but. Garrett is going to get so much attention. I think he's going to get the bulk of the eyes from Ohio. They're going to be like, watch out for this guy, avoid him, or steer their game plan away from him. So that's the only reason why I'm not really picking the obvious choice.
That guy's got like a nose for the football too, man. He's always, anytime he gets on the field, he's always around the ball.
Yeah.
He's either causing a turnover or getting a sack or making a play. It's crazy. You wouldn't expect it because he doesn't have that normal size you'd expect for a 3-front defensive end, but he's just one of those guys. He gets it done.
So from what I understand, Ohio's offensive line, though, is very veteran. So that's going to be a challenge. Like we said in the beginning of this episode, can our defense get that pressure against that veteran offensive line? I believe they can. It's going to have to be, Kurt Maddox is going to have to get deep in his bag, though. He's really going to have to pull back in his bag. And props to Coach Maddox. I feel this coaching staff, guys, I feel like they're at a really good spot. Of course, it's easy to say that after last year, but I really do believe that. I think Coach Hoke coming in his second term, I think where they're at now, there's some good energy, there's good cohesion. I think there's good vibes in the program. Kurt Maddox is one of those guys that he's proven a lot of people wrong. I think a lot of people were scratching their head or just curious. A lot of people were curious when you saw his name taking over for Rocky Long. That's no small feat. And he's lived up to it. He's really helped maintain and continue the growth of this defensive program. But this year's a challenging year. Any thoughts on the coaching staff?
I think the offensive side seems in a much better place, cohesion-wise. They seem, if what James saw, if it's any indication that they seem to have really good discipline, had the timing down, that points towards the coaches working well together and doing what's asked and trying to work as a team on that side of the ball.
Yeah, pretty much what I said earlier. It seems like they have a clear idea of what they want to do and they're implementing it and the players are getting it. And, we'll see Saturday, but from all indications so far, it seems like they've taken drastic leaps forward in being a more cohesive offense. So,
and when it comes to the head man in charge, Coach Brady Hoke, guys, let's be honest. Let's be truthful. It's a second go around here at State. A lot of people could say he's the architect of this program's success before handing it off to Coach Rocky and everything that Rocky instilled in this Aztecs program. So very proud of those years, man. But, with Coach Brady, to be honest, there was a little less shine on the position, but after this past year. But one thing, I think if you were to look at any of the players, talk to any of the players like we have, so I don't think we're speaking out of line at all. Everybody appreciates Coach Hoke. From what I gather is that he's definitely respected and the leadership is there in that locker room. I think guys, they play hard for him. Some people are critical online, right? Oh, did they have he had Jalen Maiden as a backup safety, last year, and look where he is now. Okay, well, you could take that angle if you want as a fan or as a hater, but I would rebut that with Coach Hoke trusts his coordinators' evaluations. He's not stepping on anybody's toes. But when the moves had to be made last year, and we were very vocal about it, we make no apologies for it. But when it came time to make those hard decisions, Coach Hoke made them. They were not easy ones. And he trusted his offensive staff to bring Jalen back onto the offensive side of the ball. And, he made the opportunity available as a head coach, as an administrator should do. You make that path available to happen. You entrust your offensive staff to do their job. And now we're in this position. Okay. I get it. It's not to say that he's been perfect, but when the moves had to be made, they were made, in my opinion. And I think in that locker room, you see the guys, they respect him for it. They're tight as a brotherhood. And, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for. I mean, nobody goes undefeated in college football unless you are an Alabama, a Clemson at that very height of college football. So, I mean, It's a big year, make no mistake. I still think he's got a good grasp on this program. How do you guys feel? Anything?
Go ahead, James.
I'd say I'd wager he had almost zero to do with who was starting at quarterback, dude. Like that's like you said, that's not Hoke's thing. He doesn't really get into the offense or defense side. He just kind of lets his coordinators do their job. So if that's your criticism of him, I don't agree with that. Hoke is not perfect. He has his faults, and we've talked about him on here before. But I like the direction the program's going still. So I'm excited. I'm ready. And it seems like the players, like you said, the biggest thing is the players play hard for him, and that's pretty much one of the most important things you expect your head coach to provide.
I've seen him in some interviews, and he looks refreshed. He looks in better shape. He looks like he has some energy. I saw him at the game. I liked his posture, just like the energy he brought to the field. I think he knows that this season is very important. And it's not that he's on the hot seat, but I think it could start to get warm if this year's a struggle. But he's been, I don't know, he's exuded some quiet confidence this year, just from where I've seen him in interviews, how I saw him at the game. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, so it's an interesting year. What are we looking at? The first 6 games, 4 of them are at home. That's home against Ohio, Idaho State, UCLA. Then we go on the road to Oregon State, guys. We are going to be there. Back home against Boise, and then at Air Force. That's a very, very tough stretch of 6 games to open with. Ohio, guys, is not going to be easy at all. It's not a gimme. It's definitely winnable, definitely losable. Idaho State, okay, I'm not going to say anything about that. None of these games in this first 6 are gimmies minus Idaho State. So, I mean, we're coming out of the gate. I don't want to say half of what I want to say, but it's like these first 6 games are tough.
We could come out of this first 6 games 3-3 and still feel really good about this team the rest of the year. Because that's a brutal 6-game stretch, man. So if we came out 3-3, I would not be disappointed. Obviously, I want to win them all, but it's a brutal first 6 games of the season we've got here.
Hey, Matt, how annoyed are you that Moose isn't a team captain, dude?
Well, I am annoyed with it, but it's chosen by the players. The players vote on it. So I have no ammunition.
I mean, dude, you're going to put a kicker back there? Jesus Christ, us and our kickers, dude. Way too much prop from the kicker, dude. And it's like never ending.
That's what we do. Kicker you, punt you. We haven't even talked about the special teams. Special teams are locked down, though. You gotta give Mr. Browning his due. He is locked down. Dude, he's doing punting and kicking. I think he's doing kickoff as well. I mean, following in those footsteps of Matt Araiza. Yo, those are big shoes to fill, punt god shoes, and he's filling it. And you can say what you want. I'm very high on Coach Deacon. He's like I said, every chance I get, man, the dude impresses me every time I talk to him. Like the performance that he puts out in the special teams, everybody comes to play. Special teams, I'm not worried about it, and that's a relief because that may be the difference in a few of these first 6 games. All right, guys, how we feeling? We got to cut it short. I think we've been on here for quite a while, so.
No, man, I'm ready to rock and roll for Saturday, dude. Can't get here soon enough.
I'll be bringing Marshall with me, definitely. Bulk you. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this first episode of 2023 Sons of Montezuma podcast. Make sure you guys are staying tuned all week long. I'm very excited to talk with Coach C and kind of get his takes on it. And then, hey, we're not allowed to go to press conferences. We're not allowed to go to practices, all that good stuff. We basically like to evaluate and get our reactions of the game. And we are definitely not afraid to give our opinions. So we'll be watching all year long. Hope you guys join us for the ride, whether good, bad, ugly, beautiful, bombs away, all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to it, guys.
No, let's bounce. I got to say goodbye to the kids.
All right. We'll see you guys on Saturday, 4 o'clock on FS1, San Diego State, Ohio University. Not the Ohio, but the ones we got to beat this week. Look forward to seeing you guys there at the tailgate. And, sonsofmontezuma.com Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Peace.
See you guys. Thank you.
I'm an
All right,
Aztec
later, dude.
warrior.
John.
Yo.